What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Leo. So back here again for another video, man. Today we got a video uploaded by Cosmic Wonder. This one, Spider-Man and Wilhelm trailer breakdown. Tobey and Andrew confirmed by edit mistake. Now, I'm actually already aware of that part because I have a video up. After my I had uploaded my reaction to the trailer, a lot of people have taken notice to a couple editing mistakes within the film, and I happen to identify one of them in that video. It's only a couple seconds long. Feel free to check it out. Pretty sure he's gonna address it here. Anyways, though, yeah, that trailer was absolutely amazing. However, we didn't get Tobey and Andrew, or did we? Let's get it, man. But before we get into it, y'all let me know down below in the comments how was your day. Hopefully it was pretty good. If it wasn't, hopefully this makes it just a little bit better. Go ahead, like the video. Let's go.
What's going on, everybody? It's Warren. Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder, where we talk all things Marvel, all things MCU, and Spider-Man.
Yes, sir. I can see the excitement in his face, man.
Trailer did not disappoint. I actually didn't want to see Tobey or Andrew in the official trailer. I want to see them for the first time on screen, you know, despite all the leaks that we've had. But I think this trailer was perfect. It showed so much.
I'm not gonna lie though. As honest as like I agree, but I also like I wanted a little bit more of a tease. You know what I mean? Just to like, you know, silence some people's, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. Well, just, you know what I'm saying? Just to, I don't know, man. They could have done something. They didn't have to show them, but I think, I don't know. It was still a good trailer, though. But it's due to the expectation and the theories and stuff that they're in the film. It's like, now it's kind of almost overshadowing just the film and the plot itself, you know what I'm saying? For some people. So I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? You know.
It's a lot to break down. Now, I've only watched it a few times. I'm going to watch it a few more times as I go through and look at the footage and break it down. I'm going to be doing a lot of videos about this trailer throughout the week. So be sure to subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any
notification bell. Subscribe. Like the video. You clicked. You like.
Me and Chris over at Cosmic Culture giving away one. All you got to do to enter, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Chris's channel, Cosmic Culture.
And this is 21 minutes, guys, so
all right, there's a lot to break down.
Settle down.
In this trailer, so let's get started. So the first thing I want to mention and talk about is no, Tobey and Andrew were not in this trailer, but I am happy that that is the case. However, there are very clear signs in this footage that this trailer has been edited. And to me, I actually think we found the scene where Tobey and Andrew are in, and you can see that one of the other two Spider-Men is actually hitting Lizard in one of the scenes. Let me show you. In the scene towards the end of the trailer where our Peter Parker, our Spider-Man, is fighting against the villains, we only see one Spider-Man, and we see all of the villains, or at least most of them, jump towards Peter. We have Electro, the Sandman, and the Lizard attacking Peter, but if you look at the scene right here, when the Lizard is jumping in the middle of the air, he randomly gets hit. The only problem here with this scene is that nothing hits him. Nothing at all. He kind of just throws his head to the side, but it is very clear that he is getting hit. And if I end up stuttering a lot in this breakdown, sorry, I'm just really excited about that.
Oh, no, bro, it's cool.
It's very clear that
I understand. I'm excited too.
So what I think is probably
it's Andrew.
here is that the three Spider-Men are going up against these three
and then
villains.
See, also a lot of people, oh, I didn't mean to, I muted it, but also a lot of people were talking about how the composition of the scene is just all wrong. If you look at it, Andrew's going this way, like straight forward. He's aiming at way lower, not Andrew, he's aiming way lower than Holland Spider-Man, and then he's also aiming higher than Holland Spider-Man. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Clearly it's in more individuals within this scene.
Specific villain. Now, they are obviously not going to show us the other two Spider-Men. That is what they've been trying to avoid doing for a very long time. But I'm willing to bet that that is exactly what is.
And there's another scene. I wonder if he's going to go over it or not.
Or should I say someone is hitting the Lizard, and I'm betting it's another Spider-Man. Also, another very important part of this trailer is that Dr. Otto Octavius, Doc Ock, acknowledges that our Peter Parker is not the same Peter Parker as his. Therefore, Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker is technically acknowledged here.
Yeah.
To acknowledge that Tom Holland is not the same Peter Parker from his universe.
Alfred Molina looks so good. Like, he looks younger, bro.
So little hints like these, little small details tell us that Tobey and Andrew are coming. And then let's talk about the very final scene with Doctor Strange. We see a lot of mystical stuff going on, and it kind of looks like the multiverse
Loki,
is shattering.
yeah.
Doctor Strange says, they're starting to come through, and I can't stop them. Now, right away,
wasn't real. That's it?
Should never.
No. How could you? Tell me the truth. Wow. Is it true?
I won't lie to you.
Whatever.
You can say it.
Whatever is coming, it is just gossip.
Gossip. This is gossip.
What I believe is happening here is that the villains are actually trying to bring more villains from different universes into this universe. More on that in a bit, but what this tells me is that Peter Parker and Doctor Strange cannot do this alone. Doctor Strange literally says, I can't stop them. Then Peter Parker himself, our Tom Holland Peter Parker, even says, this is all my fault. I can't save everyone. Again, implying that Peter is going to need some help, in which he will get in the form of 2 other Spider-Men. And I think that this could perhaps be the time where the other 2 Spider-Men do get brought into this universe. Doctor Strange can't stop other people from coming in. Why would it only be bad guys? Perhaps the good guys would come as well. And I think that is what's going to happen in this scene, if not earlier in the movie. So yes, I firmly do believe that Tobey and Andrew are 100% in this movie. I think they've been edited out of some scenes in this trailer.
Oh yeah.
But let's get started on some other really important
I was about to
scenes.
say.
Now the first
You didn't go over it.
Talking to MJ, and he actually mentions getting bit by the spider.
I might talk about that.
We haven't heard much of in the MCU. They
True.
skipped the whole origin
This is a cool
story.
shot.
They introduced Peter in Captain America: Civil War, and then in his own film Homecoming. And he tells MJ there's only 1 week that he's ever felt normal, where his life has felt normal. And he says that week was the week that MJ found out that he was Spider-Man. Now, of course, it looks like our Peter Parker got to work right away when he got these powers, doing good like he talked about in Captain America: Civil War, taking on the responsibility. But what I think
Friendly neighborhood
here
Spider-Man
is foreshadowing. This scene is made to imply that MJ is kind of the best thing in his life, with the exception of maybe Aunt May. But she's the one that makes everything better. Now, I hope this isn't the case, but it could be foreshadowing perhaps her death, or maybe her forgetting that Peter is Spider-Man at the very end, or maybe even forgetting that she knows him.
I didn't even think about
but
that.
A little bit of foreshadowing here. Then it shows us some web-slinging footage, which we haven't got a ton of in the cityscape so far with the Spider-Man Homecoming franchise.
About time.
But here he has MJ, and they're going through the subway tunnels. So this is literally picking up right where Spider-Man Far From Home left off in that post-credit scene, where he's with MJ. Everybody knows that he's Spider-Man. He's going to pick her up, and they're going to run. Now, here's where we really find out about the main plot. We know from the last trailer that Peter Parker goes to Doctor Strange to get him to do a spell to make everybody forget that he is Spider-Man. And we know that Peter Parker opened his mouth one too many times while Doctor Strange was doing the spell. Also, Wong mentioned that the spell was pretty dangerous, and he warned Strange to not do that spell, but of course they did it anyways, and it got messed up. And now, Doctor Strange tells us exactly what happened. He says, when you botched that spell, implying that Peter is the one that indeed messed it up, where you wanted everyone to forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, we started getting some visitors. Now, if you've been following my channel, or if you've been trying to keep up to date with Spider-Man No Way Home, you know that these other visitors, Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Electro, the Sandman, and the Lizard, are from other universes, and Doctor Strange confirms that here. He actually says we're getting visitors from every universe. Now, we do know where the villains are coming from. From what we know, Doc Ock and Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin are indeed from the Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire universe. It is rumored that Sandman is from the same universe as well, obviously coming from Spider-Man 3. Then the Lizard and Electro are from the Amazing Spider-Man universe with Andrew Garfield. Again, all of the villains are coming from Tobey and Andrew's universe, so of course it would make sense that they would come from their universes as well and be in this main universe to help our Peter Parker, whether or not they came by choice or not. Now, as Doctor Strange mentions some visitors coming, we get several clips of villains. We see the pumpkin bombs that we saw from the last trailer, but this time we actually get a full reveal of the Green Goblin. Again,
yes, we did.
Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin from
and he still has the original
Tobey
suit.
Maguire universe. We see his pumpkin bomb, then we see him come through the smoke, full outfit.
I think the glider is a little different.
And if you look closely, you can see that this is the exact same suit that Willem Dafoe wore in Spider-Man 1. Then we don't get a shot of Electro per se. That comes later on in the trailer, Jamie Foxx, but we do get his lightning. He's shooting lightning at Peter, and we get a really good look at Peter Parker's new black and gold suit.
Yeah,
now, fun
that
fact
thing
about
looks
this black and
good.
gold suit, I actually exclusively reported where the black suit actually comes from on my website, thecosmicwonder.com. I also posted it on my Instagram and Twitter, so if you're not following me on there, you should. Sometimes I post things that I don't put in videos. And based off of what I've learned, the black and gold suit is simply his red and black gold suit
flipped
turned
inside out.
out.
That's
During the
crazy.
beginning of Spider-Man No Way Home,
Creative,
a person
though.
who supports Mysterio will run up to Peter Parker as Spider-Man in the street and throw green paint on him because he supports Mysterio. This
Right.
causes Peter to flip his suit inside out, and inside out all the circuitry shows for the suit, which is why it has the gold circuitry in it. This is much like what happened in Spider-Man Homecoming. In Homecoming, we saw Peter Parker's Tony Stark suit inside out, and if you look closely, you can see the golden circuitry and the black. That is what we are seeing here with the Spider-Man.
I gotta watch that
black
movie
and
again.
gold suit. Then we get new footage of Doc Ock fighting Spider-Man on
Dude,
the infamous bridge,
scene
but
looks
we
crazy.
actually get the fight scene. Doc Ock shows up and says hello, Peter, but after unmasking him and getting a close-up look, he realizes this is not Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker. He is in a different universe, and there is a different Peter Parker, Tom Holland's Peter Parker, and he says to him, "You're not Peter Parker." I lost my mind in this scene.
I saw the
Like I
reaction,
mentioned
bro.
before,
It
his
was,
Peter
it was
Parker is Tobey Maguire,
loved it.
and him and the film are acknowledging that right here in this scene. To me, this is a huge confirmation that Tobey is indeed coming. Now, the next part is very, very important. After they fight on the bridge, we cut to a scene where Doc Ock is in a prison in Doctor Strange's sanctum. This is actually the same location where Doctor Strange would do the spell. And there's been leaked concept art out there that shows all of the villains actually being trapped inside of the cell.
Right.
They each get their own individual cells. And
Right.
of course, they're making sure to truly introduce Doc Ock here. Peter, MJ, and Ned ask what his name is. He says Dr. Otto Octavius, in which they all laugh. And this really reminds me of the scene in Infinity War where Peter is saying, "Oh, we're using our made-up names." Now from here, several really important key events happen. Doctor Strange says there are others out there.
It reminds me of that joke in Spider-Man. I think it's Spider-Man 2. He's talking to Jameson. And he's like, look at that. I was like, how funny is that? A guy named Otto Octavius and winds up with 8 limbs. You know what I'm saying? It reminded me of that joke whenever he asked him for his name, and they started laughing.
But I'm also thinking he could be referring to others. Says there are others out there. Other villains, but I'm also thinking he could be referring to other Spider-Men as well. But when he says others, they do show the villains. We get a look at a new Statue of Liberty
With the
being
Captain
built
America
to
shield
hold
on
a
it.
Captain America shield. Some
Yeah.
leaks have told us that this is where the final fight will take place, and later on in the trailer, it does show Spider-Man fighting Electro, Sandman, and the Lizard on
the
top
scaffolding.
of it. So Strange says there are others out there, and we need to send them back. And we get a look at Electro in the background behind Spider-Man in his black and gold suit, which
I like
is
that,
now
how
enchanted by magic. As
the
you
electricity.
can see in his right arm, Doctor Strange has enchanted the suit. Obviously,
Right.
he does this to help Peter Parker be able to fight all of these different villains since there are so many. He
They're
also
powerful.
probably granted the suit some powers to be able to trap them. Now, here we get a brief scene of what Doctor Strange is kind of like as a mentor. He says it's all Peter's fault and we need to Scooby-Doo this crap, and Zendaya kind of talks back to him, in which he says, "Please Scooby-Doo this crap." Now here is possibly the biggest and most important part of this trailer. We find out why the villains are attacking Spider-Man. We hear Doc Ock say, "You're flying out into the darkness to fight ghosts."
Now look, before he gets on to that point, I want to point this out because he might not. There's a lot of people saying that this scene, the composition of the scene or whatever, is so large in the fact that it makes no sense for it to be this large, and Tom Holland Spider-Man is the only one taking up this space, you know what I'm saying? It seems as if almost like there should be maybe a few other characters or things to see within this area, you know what I'm saying? That's what they say. Plus, it makes sense too because it's such a zoomed out scene. This would be a dope scene of like all 3 Spider-Man like swinging together to go to the statue. You know what I'm saying? Statue of Liberty. You know?
In which Peter replies, "What do you mean?" In which Doctor Strange explains they all die, referring to the villains fighting Spider-Man.
Right.
It's their fate. Now, obviously, our Peter Parker, Tom Holland, has never met or fought any of these people, let alone killed them. So Doctor Strange apparently knows here they've all died to other Peter Parkers, specifically Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Doc Ock in the Tobey Maguire Sam Raimi universe died to Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, kind of at least, in Spider-Man 2. Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin definitely died at the hands of Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker in the very first.
He did that to himself. Don't tell Harry.
Spider-Man film. And then of course you have Jamie Foxx's Electro and the Lizard dying at the hands of Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker. The only one that's kind of interesting is
Sandman. I thought about that, yeah.
Actually
He didn't die.
in Spider-Man 3 to Tobey Maguire. He actually left on really good terms. Tobey Maguire said, "I forgive you," and then he went away. And
Right.
for this exact reason, it leads me to believe that perhaps this Sandman may not be from the Tobey Maguire Sam Raimi universe, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Now, as Doctor
Interesting.
Strange explains this, we do see some footage of Peter fighting some villains, and simply some villains causing chaos, and what I believe is the point where they all enter this universe. We can see Sandman and Electro are definitely there because we can see the sand on the left side, the lightning on the right side, and some purple in the background, which is what I believe is the entry point to where they came to this universe, because at the end of the trailer, we see all of that purple, and Doctor Strange says they're coming in. Now, the
Right.
NYPD arrive at the scene along with JJJ.
Jameson. I didn't think we were
Jameson
going to see
on
him
the scene, and we can see the
outside
Daily
of
Bugle on the van. We then see
the
Peter
internet.
jumping after a pumpkin bomb, obviously trying to save somebody that it's being thrown
It's
at.
about to go
And what's
off, man.
interesting here is that he's actually not wearing a helmet. He's not wearing
Yeah.
a face covering with
It's
a
gonna
nanotech
mess you
suit.
up, bruh.
This is most likely what results in the scene that we saw where he's really, really beat up. And the bomb is probably thrown at MJ or Ned. I'm gonna assume it's MJ. Maybe one of the other Spider-Men, but probably MJ. But here's where it gets really good. Doctor Strange says, "I'm sorry, kid." And Peter says,
Yeah, me
too.
too.
Which Doctor Strange looks at him and says,
No.
"Don't." But then Peter Parker webs up this cube that Doctor Strange is holding and takes it. Now, I've done a few videos talking about a real
Follows the
plot leak
leaks
that is
pretty
out there
accurately.
that I've seen that has been confirmed true. If you've been following me, you've seen this and you've heard about this cube. Don't worry
Right.
if you haven't, I'll explain it right now. This cube is apparently a key, not only to the prison that all of the villains are in, but a key to sending them back to their respective universes and
Right.
making sure nobody else comes into our universe, the MCU, from other universes like the villains already have done. Now, according to this plot leak, the cube eventually breaks, and that's why Doctor Strange at the end says, "I can't stop him." But Peter takes this cube because he feels guilty that these villains died at the hand of another Spider-Man.
Right.
He feels a ton of guilt because of this and thinks that maybe he can perhaps change it somehow and they don't have to die. Also, while the villains are apparently in their cells, the Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, tries to talk to him and kind of convinces him that they're actually good and they just want another chance. And this is why,
So they say.
Peter Parker takes the cube from Doctor Strange.
Right.
However, if you're gonna try and take something from the master of the mystic arts,
Sorcerer
Doctor Strange,
Supreme.
you better be ready to fight, because that's exactly what happens when
Yeah.
With relapse
I don't think. I'm sorry,
support,
Spidey. As
there's
much as I'm
lot
a
to deal
a
with,
fan,
not just
there's no way in hell he's gonna outdo the Sorcerer Supreme. So I'm assuming this scene is gonna end up with them, with Spider-Man particularly, eventually breaking it, and that's also another reason why he kind of blames himself. You know.
Peter takes the cube. They fight and Doctor Strange clearly wins here, but then Peter says, "Don't, there has to be another way." In which Strange says, "There isn't. They're a danger to our universe." Now from here we get a lot of really cool scenes. Now, at 1:56 in the
Marissa
trailer,
Tomei,
if you look
yeah, she's
really
running.
quickly, there's
Aunt
a
May.
scene of Aunt May running really frantically. This could actually be the scene where Green Goblin has thrown one of his pumpkin bombs. He could have thrown it at Aunt May. Looking back at that scene, this very well could be the case. After all, Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin did use Aunt May as bait in the very first Spider-Man film as well. Looks
Finish
like Norman
it.
Osborn could be doing that again,
I remember
because
that.
of course he knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. We then have the scene where Doc Ock has Peter wrapped up in his arms. We were showed this photo a couple of weeks ago, on the
Yeah.
bridge of course. But
Yeah.
here's a very, very cool scene. We can see Doc Ock actually taking
That's
the
interesting
nanobots
that
from
he's
the
able to
Iron
do that.
Spider suit. A
Yeah.
couple of weeks ago, we did get a photo released where Doc Ock had the red on his tentacles, and I told you it was from the Iron Spider suit, but some people doubted me. From the real rejects, but that was
Hey, shout out to shout out to Greg from the Real Rejects, man. It looks like Cosmic Wonder knows what he's talking about. I never doubted you, bro.
told, and now this definitely confirms it, as we can literally see the nanobots on his tentacles.
Yeah.
We then see something
And it's the same color.
insanely cool. Jamie Foxx's Electro is back. He looks
Dude, and he got the
completely different,
star.
which I love, and he actually looks
Yo,
comic accurate. If you
exactly.
take a look, it's very brief. We can see the lightning forming around his head in that star pattern
It
that
looks
looks
good.
exactly like a comic Electro
You can't can't take this from me.
I love
Is that what he said?
they're doing that. This is our first
Or I
Jamie
won't
Foxx
let you take
reveal,
this from
even
me.
though he spoiled it like a year and a half ago. But he says,
True.
"You're not going to take this away from me."
Yeah,
Most
there we
likely
go.
referring to the fact that he is now alive and has a second chance because he dies in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Obviously, him and the other villains aren't just going to let Doctor Strange send them back to where they will just die again, because that's exactly what will happen. So they're not going out without a fight. But here at 2:02 in the trailer, we actually see something rather interesting. We see a lightning bolt kind of
it looked
hit
like
Doc
it,
Ock,
yeah.
and Doc Ock falls. Now again, at the end of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, Doc Ock kind of turned...
A lot of people, okay, so he's going to talk about, a lot of people were kind of debating and saying, like, do you really think Doc Ock would, like, be a bad guy? You know what I'm saying? Because in the end of Spider-Man 2, he kind of he gained control and came to a sort of senses, you know what I'm saying? So he might not be a bad guy, at least throughout the whole entire film.
Is good, and he sacrifices himself to save everybody
Right.
from himself, but still he does it. He finds out Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and he has a change of heart and says, "I will not go down, I will not die a monster," and seemingly turns good. Perhaps that is something that we could see happen again
That's
in this
how
film.
you start.
Maybe
How you
Doc
sounded.
Ock turns good, and this is Electro fighting against him. Maybe not. Maybe this is some sort of a mishap, but it does
Or he
look
got
like
in the way.
Electro hits Doc Ock pretty hard. We then see Peter on top of the Statue of Liberty that is being reconstructed to have Captain America's shield on it. He's fighting Electro, and he jumps off, and notice in his hand he still has that cube.
Oh,
the cube
snap.
apparently gets damaged during the fight of Strange and Peter, but it looks like it could go on to get repaired somewhat, because it looks like that's what they're going to use in the final battle.
I didn't even
to
notice
try and
that.
Get them all to go back to their respective universes.
Gotcha.
We then hear very clearly Willem Dafoe's voice, the Green
Dude, his
Goblin,
lines.
saying, "Peter, you're struggling to have everything you want while the world tries to make you choose." Now, what I believe...
They say nah. I almost don't want to do it now. Mess it up. But anyway, Spider-Man 1, Goblin. They say we are who we choose to be. Now choose. That's when he, you know what I'm saying, he was holding MJ on one end, and then he had the rail or busway or whatever. What's those things called? Railway? You know what I'm saying? The little small, I don't know what they're called. But anyway, he had the thing full of kids in it. He was like telling Tobey Maguire to choose which one he's going to save. Save the woman you love or suffer the children or something like that.
This is the Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, in a prison cell in Doctor Strange's sanctum. And this is where I believe Norman Osborn is trying to talk to Peter and try and talk some sense into him. And this is where he kind of convinces Peter to let all of them go and makes him feel bad that they all died to Spider-Man. Now, honestly, I'm really worried about Happy. I think he might actually die in this movie, but we'll have to wait and see on that.
I
But
hope
then
not.
comes
I
the
like
big
Happy.
Edited money shot. There's some type of an explosion on top of the constructed Statue of Liberty. As far as what that is, we're not sure. Perhaps the villains are indeed trying to bring more villains into this universe so they can take it over. I doubt they're trying to get back because, as we know, they'll die. But check this out. Peter says, "This is all my fault. I can't save everybody," in which I've already explained that I think this is where the other Spider-Man come. I believe they come in via a sling ring, but that's all I'll say about that to avoid major spoilers. But in the main trailer that Sony released on their main YouTube page and on their Twitter, we see Spider-Man going up against Sandman, Electro, and the Lizard. Now, the clip that I showed you in the beginning where the Lizard is getting hit in the face out of
From the
nowhere,
Brazilian
that is
trailer.
actually only in the Brazilian trailer.
Crazy.
In this trailer right here, we don't see the Lizard getting hit at all. So that's a slip up by Sony right there. But there is something very interesting about this scene. As you can see, Electro and the Lizard aren't going anywhere near Spider-Man. Electro is jumping up, the Lizard is jumping down and to the side of Peter Parker, and it seems very clear that there are other Spider-Men, two specifically, in this shot that have been edited out to not be revealed in this trailer. This scene right here just seems very evident. The Lizard isn't going anywhere near Spider-Man.
It's not just any Hall of Fame, it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame!
I didn't know the Rock and Roll had like a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony thing. You know what I'm saying? Rock and roll is cool though, for sure.
We're using unconventional thinking to create new opportunities for small business growth.
What's up with
Like
these
unlimited-
double ads, man?
Combined with the Brazilian trailer showing the lizard getting hit by a ghost, essentially, that confirms it right there. The
Hit,
other
kick,
Spider-Men are
something.
in this film. So the three of them fight Electro, Sandman, and the Lizard, and the shield that is being built on the Statue of Liberty ends up...
Oh, he doesn't talk about it. There's like 2 other scenes where it kind of like teases or potentially shows like, okay, I'm going to mention it and you guys can go about it and find it your own. But there's a scene right before MJ jumps off the, or MJ and Ned are about to fall off the scaffolding or whatever. Right before that happens, right beside Ned, there's a scene and you can see like, it looks like there's something red, like a red arm is there, but it's edited out. Like it's very vague. I'm not sure if it's in the Brazilian trailer or just the whatever trailer, but you can see that a Spider-Man's arm is in the scene. I'm surprised more people aren't talking about it, but I guess the lizard thing is a whole bigger plot point. I mean, bigger mistake or whatever. Also, there's another scene apparently where they edited Tom Holland's Spider-Man onto Tobey's Spider-Man because the eyes or something looks different. That one I have to do a little bit more research on because I seen the picture of it very vaguely. I got to go back and really look at it, but yeah, there's a couple edits, like editing mistakes within the trailer. So like they're clearly like taking some stuff out of these scenes, some stuff out of context.
Breaking, and the building ends up collapsing, in which MJ starts to fall. And here is what I think is actually...
Oh, wait a minute. There it is. Okay, wait a minute. Here we go. Let's see if we can find it right here.
MJ starts to fall.
I'm going to see if you can...
And here is what I think...
Okay. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. Right here. You guys see that? You guys see that? Do you guys see that? If you look close, I wish I could enhance, but if you look closely, like zoom in, turn to the side, that right there is a hand, but the rest of the body is missing. That's clearly is red. It's a red, it looks like a red hand, like arm or whatever. Someone or something is edited out of this scene because the rest of the body is missing, and then you see the scaffolding. Why does the scaffolding have this red arm? Just, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you guys not see that? I rest my case.
Is actually happening here. This fall looks a lot like when Gwen Stacy died in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Looks a lot like it. We then see Tom Holland's Peter Parker jump after her, and it looks like he's going to end up catching her. However, I don't think it's Tom Holland's Peter Parker that saves her. I think it's Andrew's. I think this is his big redemption moment.
A lot of people are saying that's Andrew's hand.
I couldn't tell. But he can save MJ in this universe, and if this doesn't happen, I think it's a really
missed opportunity. Oh yeah,
but
for
after
sure.
watching this trailer, I have full confidence in Marvel and Sony that they know what they're doing. The trailer ends with Strange saying that they're coming through, and I can't stop them. This really could be anything, but
I gotta find that other scene
just more villains or other
with the Tobey Spider-Man in it,
which would make a lot of sense considering that we're about to go into the multiverse of madness. I think other universes are colliding here, and that's where everything's going to pick up in Multiverse of Madness, and it's going to make for a heck of an ending. And hopefully this also means that Tobey Maguire...
Oh, okay, wait a minute. It's this scene right here. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pause and go through it quickly.
And is going to make for
a heck. I don't know if I'll be able to catch it, but apparently... Is this scene right here? They're saying this is not Tom Holland Spider-Man, but this is in fact Tobey Spider-Man. Reason for that is apparently the goggles or the eyes, you know what I'm saying? They look like Tobey's, not the way Holland's look. I can't find a freeze frame. I think this is it right here. I don't know. This one's a little bit more. I don't know. I'd have to look at a comparison side by side, but a lot of people are saying that this is indeed Tobey Spider-Man, like the headpiece. Now that I think about it, yeah. The headpiece looked like Tobey's Spider-Man, but the rest looks like Tom's. So I think they edited over that.
Hopefully Apparently, this also means that
Interesting.
Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield could be sticking around for a while. But that was the official full trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home. I loved every single second of it. Please
Oh,
let
yeah,
me
it was
know
pretty
what
good.
you
It's pretty
thought
good.
about it in the comments down below.
When I clicked
Thank
on
you
it,
all so much for supporting me
it had
and
2
my channel
views.
through
I
this
refreshed
time.
it.
It's been amazing. All
It was
the
at
Spider-Man news has been fantastic.
1.5
I hope you
views or
continue
something.
to support us
1.5
even when it's
mil.
gone, even though it will be sad. And of course, you can follow me on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I post there sometimes. It means a lot when you follow me. You can find me on
Oh,
there.
yeah, man.
Thanks again for the support. And as always,
Woof,
love you
woof.
all. Woof, woof.
Yes, sir. So this has been a long one, so I'm gonna cap it off real quickly, man. Like I said, I had talked quite a bit throughout this. Hopefully you guys understood what it is I was saying. Maybe you guys can also go about doing your own research and finding out, particularly the last one, the last two, the whole Spider-Man arm and the Tobey Maguire headpiece. You know what I'm saying? Because that looked like Tobey Maguire's headpiece. I for sure 100% think they're in the film. Probably are they in it long time? Probably not. I would say they come maybe second half to third act, somewhere around there. They're probably going to intervene, which is fine by me. So y'all let me know down below in the comments, what are your thoughts on this? Make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, let me know if you identify any other areas where it is the trailer has been edited. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, follow me on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram. Leroy Says So, same YouTube channel. There's some stuff to that too. That being said, peace.